There we go. Good morning, Dr. Brad.
Oh, hello, Kurt.
If I can show my coffee cup, how dirty? It's too dirty.
Important to show that.
Uh,
I'm to the brim. I made an extraordinarily large amount of coffee today
well,
so
that's
that I'm
good.
prepared for this session
Yeah,
we're going to engage in.
yeah. We need to be prepared. Um, so
Mm,
today is Sunday, February 25th, 2024. This is a working session. If you don't know what a working session is, it's where it's like literally sitting there and watching Brad and I do the work. We publish these because, believe it or not, people love them. I have no idea
that's
why.
funny too, isn't it?
It just seems really odd to me, but they do follow along. So we actually record them only for documentation purposes because I frequently have to go back and say, I know we answered this. What the hell did we say? So and if I was really on the ball like I wish I was,
Oh,
every Saturday morning, I would get up and listen to the Saturday and Sunday of the week before and make sure I didn't miss anything. But hopefully I'll get to that point soon. Anyway, we are working on the pamphlet, right? When are working, and I don't think I really want to give too much of an overview. We'll just say that we're working on the pamphlet and we're continuing this. And today I'm going to try to handle this issue of addressing language as measurement so that we can talk about relations and dimensions and such, because relations, we are really just saying the world is built out of relations, right?
yes.
And that the persistence consists of constant relations, right? And we want to create this because when I started out trying to teach this as geometry, it was too hard for people to understand. But I think if we build this up and then say, well, it's just geometry,
Right. Look, it's just like
it's
geometry.
just like geometry, I think it'll be easier to understand.
Yes.
I was certain that if I used the example of the 3D video games, right, that you go through them, and of course I've built 3D video game worlds, right? So I'm really familiar with using these 3D modeling tools, and it's just vectors, right? And vectors accumulate in triangles. And so video screens look, and so it turns out ternary logic, right? Triangles. It turns out that that's the only thing you can use
Mm.
to to both consistently measure and create a simple review of the world is out of. And so it's just I find this extraordinarily fascinating. But anyway, I'm like, okay, well, everybody in the world has at least seen a 3D video game, right? I can show a wireframe and they'll basically get it.
Yeah.
And so I would say now, what is this? So now in this context, what does a triangle and a dimension mean? Right? Or, what does an observer mean? What does a triangle mean? And then when you're moving through these 3D worlds, there's basically a set of coordinates that's called a bounding box, right? You don't calculate where your finger is, right? The actor's finger is. You said, okay, the bounding box hit it. Okay, is any part of this next bounding box, which is the hand, hitting the thing? And if that's so, then fine, you can execute this motion. So you basically run around the world, and if the box around you bumps into something, it causes events. So
Relation, right.
right, and so when anything happens, like you hear a sound or the weather changes or a door opens, or it's just basically a bunch of math deciding whether the geometry of the box you're in is interacting with the geometry of that other box. And then you go down to the next level. What about the bounding box that's around the hand or the sword or whatever it is, right? And so it's pretty, I don't know. I consider it fascinating. I thought it would be a great way of explaining. No, didn't did not work at all. Lost every single fucking person.
It's okay. So living and learning, right?
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, that's one of the reasons I was so frustrated when you and I started talking is like, Like I've already failed. And what I thought was the easiest, most accessible way of getting this across.
Dead loss.
What?
Dead loss.
Yeah, so I already failed. All right. It's just too much of an abstraction. That's one abstraction to another. It's better just give people the direct thing that they can,
That's it.
they don't have to build. So anyway, oh my God, I wanted to go copy and paste a lot of stuff, and then I realized I can't do this without Brad.
Oh my.
Because I need the bounce back. Or put it this way, this is way easier if I work with Brad. Then
There
that
you
was
go.
real. I should say
I'm
this.
up.
I should be honest and say, well, I can do this, but it's way too hard. But if I have Brad with me working with me, it'd be way too easy. The second thing was, I've got this, and you saw the 400-page draft, right? Which is
Yes.
online, right? So I've got this drafted in a number of forms. I have what the Scrivener document or the Word document I started with, the Scrivener document I moved to. Once Scrivener crashed enough times, I moved back to a Word document, and then I said I just can't. I can't keep enough Word documents open to do this, right? So I moved up into this form. So the problem, and then once I had started teaching this, I started doing the slides. And
Mm.
so the slides, so I've got these versions of this everywhere that are really my experiments with how the fuck can I teach the thing? How can I teach the theory of that?
It's like it's a problem of breaking ground.
Yeah, it's just,
It's a
well, I mean,
frontier problem.
I did what I tell people. I say, predict a field, right? And then, but don't bet on one, so I tried all these fields. Turns out that the web environment, because you can do so much at once. And in other words, I can find a lot of things quickly,
Yes.
uh, and it's constantly backed up every couple of seconds, right? So I mean, that's really good. But then when I found out that I was working on the slides, it forced me to really just limit it to bullet points.
Yep.
So now here's the deal: is the I went looking for this noun verb thing, right? And I'm searching the website. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of pages up there on,
Yes.
right? And so I'm going through this and I'm like, why the fuck can't I find this? And so I go over it and I'm like, what? I mean, I can see it in my mind, right? On the paper, right?
Okay.
That's the problem. It was on the paper, right? And so when I found it, I found it on the slides, but it's
Okay.
not up on the internet.
God. God, it's so
I
much
just feel like,
work to find it. It's so
you know,
much
you-
stuff.
so you're always teasing me. You justifiably, I write everything down, right? I mean,
He does.
I
That's,
do,
that's
right?
for the audience. It's true. He writes everything on the computer. It's fascinating to watch.
I write everything down. And the problem is when you write everything down, it turns out there's a lot of it.
It's true. And it's like that's I think this is the biggest problem that you face, Kurt, which is the sheer volume of material that you've generated. It creates a forest in which the needle is hiding somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So this morning, it took me all morning to find the thing on nouns and verbs because it was in the freaking in the slides, right? I mean,
That's why we need to write the book and get done. So it's
exactly.
all in one place and we know where to look.
By the way, for the audience, Brad knows what he's doing here. So if we write the pamphlet, then I've got it all in one and the outline, right?
I am so looking forward to this. And after yesterday, the arc of it is just superb. I'm so looking forward to seeing that published because that is going to be a tome, a little bitty precursor to the tome,
Yeah,
right? But it'll contain it all.
it has everything. I like my writing when I write in the book, right? Because it's explicative, right? I mean, I
Yes,
start out every chapter this start with, well, it's very, very good. It's also voluminous,
yes.
right? Um, and I just find that I, the whole problem is this whole thing of how do you unite the science? I mean, it's really unite everything. How do you create a universal?
That's all. That the task is monumental.
Right, and so you've got, and then we've got to say, what are the first principles that allow for that unification?
That's right.
When then we have the terms from every discipline. So if you have the unification up and down, right, and then you have the disciplines this way, you have these terms that you have to like, okay, which one is the best for this particular thing if I general. Anyway, so I'm just talking nonsense here, but the point is that I did work on this yesterday and I did work on it this morning, and I'm like, I just got to do this with Brad because I keep coming up with these questions that I'm like, they're not questions about the content. They're
Right.
questions about, yeah, how do we want to present this so that
Yes.
people, because I'm too nerdy. I mean, I'm okay with,
I did not say that.
yeah, I know you did. I understood. Um, all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screens, plural,
That's
because
right.
I want you to be able to see uh, the source we're working on the left-hand screen, the where I'm trying to draw it from on the right, like the reference material, and then the other reference material, which is the slides on the next screen over.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen, and of course I clicked the wrong button, of course. 1 and 2.
Voila.
Happens for you faster than me, apparently.
No, it hasn't come up yet. Now it is.
Okay.
Okay.
So what we should see here is on the left page here, right? Can't see
Yes, I see that.
my own screen. Why doesn't it want to do that? Why doesn't it want to show me my own screen? Oh, I can do it this way. Okay. Okay. So that is our work, what we're writing, right? This is some of the source material that I want to refer to in here.
Okay.
And over here is the slide deck.
Yes.
And I don't have the Word document open that I used to pull into the slide deck, right? God knows why I did that. God knows. Who knows? At the time, I'm sure it made sense at the time.
Right.
All right. So,
Yes.
all right. So I don't want to lose. Here's the big question.
Okay.
So what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to build up this system of measurement, right?
Okay.
Right. I'm trying to build. And so that's a cut through. That is a cut through the data, the ideas, right?
Yes.
So I'm trying to build up from first principles, measurements, weights and measures, system
Yes.
measurement, logic, the grammar.
It's an interesting function there is I want to discuss it briefly. The piece that you're working on is about human articulation.
Yes.
And it's like, so we're talking about words and the construction of articulatory capacity and function, which is what we're talking about in this first section.
Yes. And I don't know where to explain this problem. Language is just measurements, right? Every measurement in every word consists of every word consists of dimensions. Every dimension consists of measurements, which is what we're going to add to this today. That's what we're going to do first, right? So the word universe consists of dimensions, of relations, right? relations that we can explain as dimensions,
Yes.
right? So relations, dimensions. I am recording this, right? Guess I'm learning.
Yes. Yes.
So, in my mind, when I think of relations, I think in terms of geometry and artificial intelligence.
Okay.
So there are spatial relations, right, in geometry. And geometry is limited, right? It has 3+1 dimensions,
Yes.
but semantically, it isn't limited. Dimensions aren't limited,
That's correct.
right? So the semantic dimensions can be extraordinarily complex, which is why we can't look into our own brains and we can't look into an AI and figure out what's going on,
Okay.
right? So the three-dimensional world is a trivial
Yes.
grammar, right? It's a trivial,
Yes.
it's the
It's the most basic grammar.
right. And mathematics is the trivial grammar that allows us to describe those relations,
Yes.
right? Does that make sense, right?
Yes.
And all languages are basically construction of relations. And so
Yeah.
we bundle all these relations into these vastly complex things, and our neurons do the job of sorting. This is like Sesame Street. Oh, this is one of those. It's not one of those, and
Yes.
and it does this at vast parallel scale, and that's how we turn what the photograph, the camera sees into a three-dimensional space with meaning and prediction and whatever, right?
Right.
All right, that's what I want to get across. I
Yes.
do not want to get across all the truth, morality, right? I just
That's
want to
right. That's right.
that
I want to.
that the system. This is important because this gets us away from these nitwits who keep saying we live in a simulation. Well, we can create a simulation, but I'm not simulating the cup here, right? Right?
No,
I'm just disambiguating the cup from the background, right?
I'm disambiguating the coffee from the cup.
Yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea.
So I want to look at this, the piece that we're working on the very left-hand side.
Yep.
Okay, so I want to go where above there. So pulling down, right, is, let's see. Yeah, that, because where we are going to put that part, right?
Correct.
Because it's like that part goes before all this. I think
Well,
it goes.
Okay, go ahead. You're right.
I think it goes. I think it goes right before this is as a purpose for the what we're doing. There you go. It's after that observable empirical empiricism. Is we're gonna talk about what we're doing is to create the text which tells what's coming in measurement, which is the verbal articulation of about words, and then followed with the measurements.
Okay, so we're starting with language here.
Yes. So you could do it after that measurement part. But we have to talk about the words because they're gonna, it seems like they should go.
So we're talking about people. We start talking about humans here. All right,
Okay.
I'm just gonna sort of make a sketch.
Yeah. Humans, yeah.
We're talking about language here. More than language. This is language, right?
Okay.
think I just answered my own question, but I want to hear what you think first. I think we should then summarize.
That's fair.
And like this and this here, where does that start? He says, it's like you can't, so here's where this is what I was thinking while you were talking. And I let myself get sidetracked.
Sorry.
No, I sidetracked myself, or which happens a lot. So here's the deal. So we want to get the measurement stuff across. Can we do that without referring to the human condition? In other words, our faculties, etc. Can we do that? Because this stuff here, this is all human behavior.
Yeah, so there you go. So what you do is after you start entering into that is where you talk about our use of the language, I think. Because there's base reality that you're talking about before. And then you're talking about the language and the use of the language after we come to understand base reality.
This is the define closure. Yeah, okay, so let me throw a couple of options out.
I'm listening.
Okay. Did I do it? I did it again. I think I forgot to do it again. Language, how do you, okay. Here's the problem. So you said something really smart yesterday. It does happen rather frequently, and I feel compelled to pull it out, even though, I mean,
Okay.
I mean, complimenting you this often, I mean, it's become a
Oh my.
burden, but I have to be morally.
Cross we must bear, right?
It's a cross I have to bear. But you said something beautiful yesterday, which was that something along the lines, and I posted it on Twitter, that it had to do with the margin of error. The sin was the margin.
Yes. Sin is the measure of the error.
Right. And so when you're speaking highly divergently, right? So we have the spectrum, right, from anthropological to completely operational, right? Computation.
Right.
Which is where Scott, right? And I might only be able to speak at this level or that level or that level of precision.
That's right.
What precision is allows deduction. So as we move across the spectrum, we talk about more precise measures.
Yes.
That have to be combined, because all those measures are combined over here in anthropomorphism and theology and philosophy. Whereas over on the right in computation, they're all discrete. And we have to enumerate them and construct from first principles. And if we've done our job correctly, which of course we're doing the job correctly because it's us doing it, of course.
That's right.
That's
right.
then we can construct from first principles, right? So we may be able to explain something that's anthropological or anthropomorphic or theological or philosophical or dialogical. We may be able to explain these things.
Right.
Technically, it should be theology, ideology, philosophy, but
Right.
for some reason they evolved for reasons that are of antiquity, they evolved in the opposite order. So the problem we're stuck with, the question we're stuck with is it turns out that the grammar, including the language is all the same, right? It's just how you arrange nouns, verbs, and names, actions, and agreements or disagreements.
Right.
That's it. I mean, it's just they're arranged in different ways. But your terms, the terms you use can be highly loaded, right? They can be
Right.
incredibly absurd analogies, or they can be precise, unambiguous measurements.
That's right.
Unambiguous is an important part. And so you can have this broad spectrum of choices available to you. So the problem is that some languages, some cultures have really bad measurements. Right?
I would know. Disambiguate that term a little bit. Imprecise is what I would use.
Yes. And so they're working with bundles like objects, right? And an object being and it's interesting. What's the difference between an object and an entity? An object is an object. If I want to disambiguate them, I'm going to say an entity is an instance of something. Could be an instance of something, and an object could be the actual thing itself. But when we say objective, this means just categorically, what is the ideal? So
right.
I put that in there because it's not. I don't have that word in there. So when you're talking about an object, that is a dense set of dimensions in a n-dimensional geometry, right? That would, if we diagrammed it as vectors, would represent an n-dimensional geometry. Be from some real world or imaginary world construct. Think of it as an episode, right?
Yeah.
An episode is generally how our memories are stored, and the biology that we have to understand it with, and the language we have now. So
represent it, right?
Represent it. So you have this painful triangle, really.
Yes.
Of what we can sense, perceive, and judge, right? You have the episodes that result from experience, and you have the language that we use to
the abstraction of it. Yeah.
Just okay. These things sort of work together in a way. So so I feel like I need to make that point. So part of me says, well, should we start with language first, or should we start with humans first? In other words, so we should take this human stuff. I'm like, how do we do that if we haven't started with the fucking primary thing, which is dimension? I mean, we can't start without language, because language is the thing that we use to talk about everything, including ourselves.
Including the language.
We can't talk about anything without a system of measurement, and the system of measurement is the language. So I was like, I have to build this up from measurement, from language, because I have to build it up. I have to build the system of measurement to talk not only about itself, but everything
everything else
it originates with, right? Everything else. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying now. So I'm looking at it like this. What have we got before the humans there? Because we could easily start with humans.
Yes. I just realized.
Because it's like that one everybody understands.
So we could start with sensation disambiguation.
Yes. And then everything else follows that. because that makes sense to the individual human being that is reading it. Because I understand that this is how my world is constructed. And then you're introduced into the precision of computation.
Right, and then we have to alternate because I can't really talk about truth until I talk about dimensions and, you know.
That's right. And it's like, so what you do is you split it down there, and that could be toward the end. Because that's like what we're doing is we're discussing how we think about things and how we articulate everything, and then details in the middle, and then in the ideal sense at the end, what we've come to tie it all together again as in our paradigm. Because your purpose is to articulate the paradigm of language, an increased precise nature of the language that you have created. So you start out how human beings function with the details in the middle, and then the ideal at the end that you have come to conclude.
Let's start out with this.
Yeah, that's a good start.
And I only have to do explain how we measure, right? Because I don't have to get into biases until biology. I only have to deal with the measurements.
Yes, because that is the most abstract version of it, and it defines all human function.
Hmm. That was supposed to be commenced. But when I saw it, why don't I just write that instead? Yes. Oh my God, you're so good. I told you I had to work.
But I just here to make your life a little easier.
I think that's all I've got to deal with. I need language to do this, but I don't need it to do this.
That's right.
Oh, I need that. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go on. The deal here. Jesus. What was that all about? Jesus Christ. Who did I hear say that? Sam, what's his name? We're always teasing him. Sam H.
Harris.
I was listening to, I was so getting the joy out of this. It's such an example, it was a perfect example yesterday. Sam interviewed, and I think this is an important insight in general. Sam interviewed Peter Zeihan.
Okay.
And so and it was an interesting education system. education, because Sam lives in the world of written stuff, verbal world,
Yes.
and he lives in the world of ideas, where he thinks ideas matter.
Mm.
And I'm great when we're saying ideas justify.
Mm.
Ideas make it justify. The opportunity is either there or not, and the ideas just exist to justify them, and to market them. But the reality is that we live in a constraint-based world where the geography and demographics, that's it. Right. After that, it's competitor stuff we've outlined, competitors and what crops are available and that kind of stuff. And then which institutions anchor you in the
Right.
ones, right? It's not hard. So it's just fascinating to watch. Something that I find is universal among people who are taught in the this, let's say the liberal arts, which I know is something you like to bugaboo about.
That was a little close to home.
That was a little closer. Is that the people in liberal arts live life thinking of these people as creators rather than reactionaries,
Mm.
right? And so there's a problem, and they solved the problem, right? They solved the problem, but their solution to the problem is a response. It's not it's always
Reactionary, right?
reactionary. And so that's not how people think. They think that this person had this brilliant idea out of fucking nowhere. Right. So what you have is Zihan come in and say it's just geography and demographics and competitors, so that's it. And you could see Sam just resisting it. He knew the problem is you can't argue with. I mean, to argue with Zion, you need as many facts as he has, right? And that's not right. First of all, I mean that's his job. Is to have
Yes.
facts than everybody else, right? Right, and to
Yes.
synthesize them. And he worked. His company is now the loud one, but the one that was loud before him that he originated with is the one that got bought by freaking Rand. I mean, the people who do all the nasty spy, military, strategic stuff that ends up getting implemented in the government, right? So yeah, I love this. I love how invisible Rand is, right? Rand is to the public. Yeah, we talk about stuff, but I mean, their thing is they're quiet, but they're
Yes.
not quiet to the people that matter.
Right.
And so I watched this happen I loved it because it was a canonical example of the difference between those of us who look at the world as from a position of limits-based reasoning. In other words, right? And those of the world who live in this, what I consider liberals left of, and the people in the classical, what's it called? What did I call the
Liberal arts.
liberal arts, as they live in a fictionalism,
It's philosophically based.
right? And so I'm like, you understand, these are all reactions to problems that exist in the time. I mean, why do you get an Aquinas? Because the restoration of Greek thought was so empowering that the church had to accommodate it, right? And so why did Augustine have to write it? Same thing. Well, why did Marx write what he did? Because the Jewish cultural locality that he was, the social nature of the world he grew up in and was raised and thought was normal, was being scaled beyond the social to the economic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's happening. We're moving from a world of
So it's justification and reaction to that scaling function.
So watching Sam was like, I felt it was. I like it because I see that as the problem I have is that, look, it's just these first principles and we're just bots riding on it. And we think we're special, but we have to think we're special. We have to keep this positive attitude. We have to believe we're empowered.
Otherwise, amidst the alienation and powerlessness, we just fucking give up. Right? We have to maintain this positive attitude. So that's the reason for the Positiva. But anyway, it was really fascinating to me to watch a person who's absolutely a canonical example of the liberal arts mentality, right? He calls himself a neuroscientist, right? But you have to go read his paper. I mean, it's really amateur level. I mean, it's PhD material for the time in an amateurish wing of neuroscience, right? I mean, it's mostly about emotions. So it's not at the level of things that are happening today, right? Joshua Bach was complaining because says, well, you have people obsessed with one cell type. I thought that was fucking brilliant. If you want to know what's wrong with neuroscience, that's actually the answer. I thought of like, how did you distill it to that, which is so sweet a distillation. Anyway, I want to give us off, but it was great. Anyway, you're absolutely right. I knew if I had this conversation with you, we'd come off with the right answer as usual. So thank you. So we have to create a universal. We have to explain the foundation of the system of measurement, right?
Right. Which is the nature of it, which is what we're working from as humans to language, which is the tool we're using to make the articulation, right?
Okay, so
And there's a section that you did not include in there, which is prediction. Oh, you did put it in there. I'm sorry. Thank you for highlighting it there quietly.
Yeah, the problem is I kept that there and I should have got attention.
Yes. Nice.
And this is release. And this is repetition. Now epistemology fits.
It's a funny thing to have it's an internally recursive function that we're describing, right? Talking about language.
This is my favorite stuff to work on, by the way.
That's good. It is the distillation of meaning, right? And significance. And it is the most, of all the things that we discussed, this is perhaps the most central function of it.
It's a brain mind consciousness thing here. Before, during, after.
Okay.
I get to do my action thing again here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna prep you in advance just so I can,
Okay.
yeah, you can call me on it when I do my action thing here.
I'm watching.
There's a brain mind consciousness up here somewhere. There's a brain. Might be a nervous system.
That's not the right. You put it in the wrong order. That's one way to do it. That's the other way to do it. You can have your choice, I'm sure. I will make fun of you as you do it. Just to get a little chuckle. That's good for me.
God, oh, make life grand. All right, it's here, somewhere like this.
I'm gonna have to watch that interview just to take it in and see what you found.
Then his Israel bias, I mean, it's just, and then his globalist bias,
Yes.
his moral presumptions.
It's all
And
predictable.
what?
It's all very
Right.
predictable.
And feminine, and his irresponsibility, feminine, and his they should, the men should, your Americans should, English should, Europeans should, feminine, right? And the use of that moral as irresponsibility and conflict avoidance, feminine. And I just find it funny that you can speak in a masculine voice, right? And use masculine words to construct entirely feminine statements.
Say all civilizations make use of their autists. That is the autists at work from that civilization.
I think it's genetic though. So is it civilization?
We're not in argument.
All right, I would like to, given that we've sort of solved that organizational problem,
Yes.
I'd like to stay down here.
Yes.
So I'm building up from measurements, right?
Right.
We're building up. So we've set a measurement and an order and a dimension. Words, right? Where does language go? I think language goes up here, right?
Yes.
Language. I don't want to jump that far.
No, I like that.
You like what?
Putting language there.
Feels like a jump. Go from measurement
That's an action.
to a measure to a system of measurement. Yeah, I haven't gotten there to a lot grammar to a language.
Okay, so you want to put it below there.
It's not the same. Shit, how do I do that?
What is that?
Well, I'm trying to get to the to others.
What do you mean others?
Well, a transaction, when I convey the conveying, I mean, right?
Right.
So far, they um, so far we're talking about the self,
Right.
meaning
That's it. That was good. I like that transition
I think that's
because it is. I think that in that place you park the transaction
yep.
is a good space, which is like it's telling what's coming.
Right, because it doesn't matter if it's a person or an individual. We covered meaning already? No. Where's meaning?
Yeah, we need meaning above there.
Meaning, yeah, so then we can go.
That's meaning right there. A formula, right?
The formula is, I'm trying to get the dimensions, right?
So
Oh,
meaning will go after
right,
that.
you're
Is
right.
fine.
You are so right.
I'm good at second fiddle.
You are really good. I mean, I don't want to puff you up too much or nothing.
No.
Because we're getting awful close to being rock solid here. Okay. I told you it was way easier with you. Two heads are better than one. Well, assuming, assume, assuming it's a net gain.
Right.
Why did you shake your head when I said that? What was that head shake? You just,
shake my head.
huh?
Just remaining calm and it's just chatter to me. We're doing fine. We're making progress.
Okay, so where's,
What's interesting to me is this is such basic, it's fundamental function of what we're doing with this. It's that it isn't always already taught is just funny to me. It's like, really? How did we go so long without thinking about this in some serious way? It
Well,
was
we
just
were,
oversight.
when I worked with Microsoft on this, because they were working on AI and language for a long time. I mean, Microsoft Research, so I worked with Microsoft Research on this problem. They understood it as words, but they didn't, at least at the time, this is a long time ago. This is probably the early 2000s. I don't think it was the 90s.
Right.
The early 2000s. Is they did not go down to they didn't have the neuroscience, right? Whereas to me it's just well, all nerves do is this, and how do you fucking sort that into something meaningful, right? I mean,
Right.
oh,
Frequency modulation.
it's just, and then when you see, the thing is we're stuck in the camera world, right? But
Yes.
we don't get that it's actually the movie world we live in, right? Where it's actually the change between, the millisecond to millisecond change that, it's actually faster than that probably, but the millisecond to millisecond change that we go through is it's the changes that matter, not
That's
the
right.
data. So we can't disambiguate without the
Now
change.
this is interesting because it's like it's a frequency modulation issue, and that's the central function.
Yes.
That's all it is.
And you wonder why the brain, people talk about brain waves cycles. I mean, duh. Somebody has got to it is like the carburetor in the engine, right? I mean,
That's right.
we have electronics, but it was so easy to explain to people when we had
That's
old-fashioned
right.
papers where it's literally a wire that's running around hitting contacts, right?
That's right.
Wire plate in your own contacts. So I'm going to just bring some data over and we'll work with that, all right?
Okay.
Because we have to explain this.
Like I say, it's fascinating to me that it is necessary to make it obvious what's going on here.
Yes.
And it is groundbreaking. But it's final. There's no further disambiguation required. This is the end state of human language development and understanding of human language.
It's the way I did it in the beginning. See, we're trying to build up from measures. The way this started before is I started with language and worked down, right? So I could talk about story, sentence, phrase, word, but now I got to talk about it goes here, right? It goes here.
There it is.
What the problem? I don't know what this is called. This is a combination of measures. Package. A measurement and a reference. No, that's not right. A measurement and an object. Yeah, object. Okay.
Oh, a change in, okay, a state.
Yeah,
That is,
it's a variable state.
yeah. So we have a noun. Did I get that?
I would say the measurement of state in time, over time or something like that to, because it's changing.
I wanna do it down here if that's it.
Okay.
In time over time.
Well, because it's variable states. It's like,
I wanna bring over. I need to bring over, if I got word, did I bring over a word already?
yes. I think it's above there.
Oh, shit, that's what I did wrong. Thank you. I'm being a fucking idiot. What do you want?
Oh my.
Can I be, everybody else gets to be an idiot. Why can't I?
I think you're capable. I have every confidence in you. You're just not trying.
I don't think I think I have to paste this without any formatting. That came out weird.
Yeah, I did.
Man, you go under, these are underneath. Oh, it's right. There's a lot of goofy stuff in here.
Okay.
Because you have to format.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
You'll fix it in a minute.
One of my favorite things that I was teaching, I don't talk about this stuff anymore because it's not as interesting to our following, but how much ownership is involved in our language tells you
Hmm.
something.
That's interesting. There's something to agency associated with that ownership function. Right?
Yeah, wait till we get to verbs.
Okay. Now, are you gonna format that different?
Yeah, I gotta figure out what's wrong with it first, though. Normally what I would do is go down here
Yeah.
and I would say, okay, let's take this all away. And let's can't do it, right? Right, so now we bring it back. Come on, you. Yeah, okay. What I gotta do.
Here you go. Playing games with the computer, right?
Well, there's extraordinary benefits to the way HTML is constructed versus DOC or RTF files. I'm going to blame RTF files on pedophile. God forbid he ever finds out I said that online.
There you go.
I'm going to do this one
That
too.
last one didn't format correctly.
I just chose to format it wrongly.
No, I didn't think of that.
Problem statement. See, I told you I was going to get to talk about action again.
There we are. I've been waiting with bated breath.
You have not.
It's true. I have not. I'm sorry to have lied. It was just something I said for fun.
Okay. So what does that look like? Does that look like that? That looks like that. That looks okay. Let's do it this way to be sure.
What's interesting is this is computational language is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I think you should label it as such because it's distinct from other discourses on language that have taken place prior to this.
Well, I mean, that's what I have been saying, right? I said the problem, where we went wrong, was Babbage. So all this stuff has happened in an age where we got set back. And as I love Joshua Bach said this yesterday, I published this yesterday. Well, the philosophy lost the plot over 100 years ago. And I go, well, that's why they lost the plot. They lost the plot because Babbage is a fucking douchebag.
Oh my. Oh my.
Yeah, we blame the guy.
He did his best. And it's a harder problem than you think it is.
Oh, it's a far harder problem because he was a man of his time, like we all are. And I'm sitting here acting like a smart guy when it's just like I'm just a product of my time, right? I just
There you
have,
are.
you know,
That's it. And so write computational language instead of simple language.
where
Go up, way up there, where you're talking about language. You mentioned it's a heading, so it says language.
you sure? I thought I did it at the bottom.
There it is. Your thought. There we are. I think that
Go ahead.
it's like this. It is. I think there needs to be a short explanatory paragraph at the front to distinguish what is going to follow from your normal understanding of language. Like, you're going to show how language is a tool of measurement. And then strictly define it for that purpose, right?
Give me that again.
You're going to define language as a tool of human measurement. That's all it is, and you're refining the understanding of language in that construct. Which is a revolutionary function.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to
What's
say
that?
revolution because we want this to be permanent, right? We're just going to state what we're doing.
That's it.
Oh, I fucked that up. Duh.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Like, where did the other page go? Oh, I already put it up there. Duh.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Can I just do it this way?
It certainly is within your capacity. I can see it.
Some woman, you know, I have to keep some sort of background noise going on. So YouTube, you set YouTube on, just keep going, right? I mean, don't pause at the end of this, just play the next thing that pops up. And one of the things that popped up was some woman having a fit of why do we have to spell things out for men? Why can't they understand hints? Like, why can't you speak like a fucking adult and say what you mean instead of a child?
Oh my.
I can't remember, it was one of the women that's a men's advocate said something along the lines of, because for men to misinterpret you is a higher risk than for you to misinterpret them. Right? I mean, so
That's exactly right.
I love the couples. That's my favorite topic that's I've stopped watching accident videos, by the way. That's good. But I guess that must have been part of my mindset when I was sick. My favorite thing is is couples humor like this because I did that shit to my wife all the time, right? The thing I noticed with my wife is it could never be threatening.
Right.
No, it had to be loving because she was really negative about any kind of threats. Um, but some of these couples, the shit they do to each other is fucking hysterical to me. And most of it's planned and acted. I mean, these people get good,
Right. Right.
but it's still incredibly charming. I'm looking at the wrong document. I'm wondering why I can't see what I'm looking for.
It's distraction.
Okay. what's beautiful is that there's only 4 dimensions of words, right? There's
Okay,
only 6 dimensions in nouns, 7 dimensions in verbs, and 2 dimensions in links, relations, and 1 dimension in consent, right?
Huh,
Out of that few number of dimensions, we construct all
everything.
everything. Now, so when I say that an n-dimensional set of relations, it doesn't take that many dimensions to create, holy shit, that's a lot of stuff, right? Because we're saying these are the dimensions, but if we go into this 6 dimensions, each one of those dimensions has at least one measure.
Yes,
So, it's like it's not infinity, right? It's
that's
not an infinite number of things. Did I capture that? The third dimension of words? The dimension of words verb, did I get that correct?
I don't,
Go ahead.
right.
Oops. You don't what?
I don't think you mentioned the dimension in there. You have it for noun.
Go up ahead. We'll go back and look at that.
Yeah,
That last sentence, I don't want. Word, action, summary, problem statement. Value. I think this is like,
ah,
yes,
yeah.
seems to work better. Where's consent? How do you say non-consent?
Hey, that's what I was thinking too.
I don't know the fucking answer. Where's our friend? Where did you go? Did I put you over here? Yes.
Here we are. There you go.
Now watch it not give me a freaking answer. Not responding.
Wow.
I don't know if it's my machine or it. I don't know.
It's a busy day for the machine, whatever machine it is. Wow.
Back when I bought this, laptop in 2004, 10 years, this laptop's lasted me 10 years. Back when I've replaced the keyboard, by the way, which is probably why it's fucked up a little bit, because I'm not sure I did a very good job of replacing, which if you don't know anything about Macs, that's probably the one thing you want to have a professional do. Because you got to basically take the whole fucking thing apart and put it back together. And Jesus, it's really not going in, are you? It just died there. What was I just talking about?
There we go.
It doesn't recognize me.
Who goes there?
Forgot what I was talking about. And he's like, I wasn't paying attention to you anyway. I'm not going to remember what you were talking about. Yeah, I understand this game.
You were telling me about your keyboard.
So but it was the biggest machine you could buy, right? And today, it's like a 32 gig machine is a pretty good machine, but you can get a 64 and higher, right?
Yes.
Let's try number 3.
Ah. There you go.
Hmm.
That works.
I don't know why, if we're called dissidents, that I should not have the word dissent shouldn't have come to mind.
That's close.
Yeah, I was thinking sissies maybe.
Stop thinking about Sam Harris.
Oh my God.
That first carrot is throwing me off.
Give me a second. I'm trying, and I'm not seeing it.
It's in after you say noun 6 dimensions. There's a greater than or less than, yeah, greater than sign, and it's like that. That's throwing me off.
This should be a colon.
Yeah,
Right, so you're saying all of them should be colons. You had a thing with colons today? I've heard that
Yes.
about you.
it's true.
You're just unflappable.
I have
Either
to.
my humor really sucks.
It's I have to be Just have to be. Good Lord. Flappability serves no valuable purpose.
Mm. You didn't catch this capital C falling down on the job?
I'm
I mean,
sorry.
how'd that happen?
Just awful, isn't it? You want to capitalize the word in the code words too.
Yeah, I saw that. But I had to leave it for you just so you had something to
It would
do.
make me feel good. I appreciate that.
Can I leave one of the colons
I
undone?
was gonna make a noise about it, but I
If you catch
say
it?
I'm just watching you. I'm studying your function.
You know what my wife would have said?
What?
You said you keep breaking those little bonds of trust.
Is that what she would say?
Whatever, I was teasing her about something.
It's just, oh my.
Now that I'm healthy, I really do miss her. I mean, I've always missed her, but I'm quite positive she doesn't miss me, but
I'm sorry.
oh, it's quite all right. I don't need I can love other people without them. I don't think she would say she doesn't still care for me, but I can know other people without them thinking the same of me.
Reciprocal.
Love doesn't need to be reciprocated.
That's true.
So, so does this mean if these are state, person, gender, possession, number, and perception? Oh, it's really pretty fascinating that's what a noun consists of. How it's ascertainable, right?
Right.
How it exists, whether it's countable or not, who owns it, the gender, relation between this and the its state of existence. I think that's fascinating. Wait a minute. I don't think I want to do that yet. Do I do meaning already? No, I don't want to do that. I just want to keep it as a measurement. 4 dimensions of measurement.
There you go.
Was it clear what I'm saying there? Yeah, no, national agreement. It's 4 I don't think it was. Okay, how do I generalize?
Huh.
So I don't know what's going on over here.
Hmm. GP is not doing his job.
It might just be that. Fascinating.
Oh. Huh.
Mm. Should frame this differently then. Response requires a third party,
Yes.
or I want it to be more like judgment.
Ah, that's good. That's good.
If I prompt it, it'll give me what I want. And so I can't say like judgment and decision seem like closer. So
We understand. And I think that that is better.
it actually sees the react.
Huh.
That's really bad. I like it.
What's interesting, it's like an attitude. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's saying. It's agreeing with you. Uh, I would say some judgment.
Because it's like judgment is too hard. I think that it's like attitude is a softer word, and it defines the your general stance, which is being described in that, which is the relation that I take with regard to this statement.
What term did you just use?
Attitude.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with stance.
There you go. You're you need to fix it in the summary part there too.
I fixed it there.
What's interesting is there's a yes. There's a the spectrum there. It looks to me like the words for agreement in agreement, or what was you're calling stance there. There's a
A bunch of things that could be here.
it's yes, and it's like from unconscious to deliberative. And it's the relation of the self to the proposition in the sentence, right?
Well, there's something that precedes it, which is like recognition or valuation. Is it valuation? When you think about something, it just constantly you say, oh yeah, that's right. Or, yeah, that's a dog. No, when you say to yourself, you don't really say to yourself, that's a dog. You just say, you recognize the dog, right?
Right?
Are you agreeing with yourself?
What an absurd thought.
Well, it's central to the existence of
It's identification.
consciousness, 'cause
It's a positive identification of a category, right?
an
Okay,
agreement.
so like I went outside and I saw a shadowy figure that was not a dog and it was not a cat. And what the hell is that? Right? And so I was unidentified, right? So it was ambiguous. And then I found the footprints later and I figured out what it was, right?
Yep.
So there's a categorization, right? You're categorizing it in this context,
Right, but
and it falls into these simple
but you
categories.
agree with it. That's the thing is over time, in the impulse comes to you. It's the same thing with releasing a grab for the cup. I have the intuition, but I have to release it. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with any identity. I'm looking at that first, I've been doing this a long time, so I can say, wow, it took a part of a second to identify this,
Right?
right? I mean, it's fraction, but I mean, I have a vague memory of my initial lack of clarity becoming clear,
Right.
right? So when that happens, that's happening in time, over time, in time and over time. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm agreeing.
It's like, so you call an agreement is like, is you're identifying with the premise in the sentence.
I'm not using a word. I'm trying to be
Yeah, I understand you. I know, but it's
I'm
like,
agreeing with my intuition, I think. That's what I think is
I know,
happening. I could disagree with my intuition and then recursively process it.
right.
I'm trying to find some way to make a joke out of you looking in the self in the mirror and not recognizing yourself because you've turned into a woman or something. And I can't
Oh
think of
my.
anything. But yeah, I wanted to let you know that I did expend a couple of milliseconds of effort on
Some
trying to make
processing time on that joke. Oh my. So it's a validation, right?
Interesting. That could be a great valid, invalid.
Or endorsement, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just trying to capture. You got that's a beautiful. Mm-hmm. You're pretty awesome at this. I mean, no matter what anybody else says about you.
Thank you. I'm invited to come back again.
What'd you say?
I'm invited to come to do it again next week. Reminds me of
People
the,
love doing this stuff,
I do.
despite who you have to do it with.
Oh my. That was an invalid statement.
Mm.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to disambiguate this now. Yeah, fuck. Comprehensibility.
What?
Mm. God damn it.
You touched it.
Nope, there we go. I was gonna say, what, I can't spell the password? That word is wrong. I just don't know what that word should be.
Which word?
Parties, I don't know. It's not. That's the wrong. I think a code word goes under. Yeah, the problem is it could be anything. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, a code word like can refer to, let's use an acronym, right? Well, I mean, an acronym is a great example. Well, what is it a noun? Well, technically it's a reference, right?
Yes.
So then it's gotta be, a code word is always a name, a noun,
Yeah.
right? It's always a name, that refers to something else. I can't imagine it being anything else. Now, a noise word I understand, but I don't understand putting a code word out there when it's still just it's just a referrer, right?
No.
It's a-
Or it could be a verb. Okay.
It might refer to, yeah, I guess we're stuck with all words are nouns, right? There are subsets of nouns called verbs. There are subsets of verbs called adverbs, just as there are
Yeah.
some. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And you get these, and then what is a code word? Well, it's still a referent, so it's still a noun, so it's still a name of something. So it's correct in this place. Okay, I just don't like it.
You don't have to like it, I suppose. It's just
All right, let's see what else we got. We can learn dimensions.
that's funny.
Oh,
I'm studying the limits of scales of measurement.
yeah, this is a sensory. Human. I might as well put it here.
Apex abstractionism.
Yep. What's the number of states necessary for wayfinding? 3.
Yes.
What's the number of states necessary for recursion. 5. So, it's like, okay, how many things can we remember? That many.
That's enough.
Oh. Because you're in the problem of the ternary problem of logic again. I don't know. I wonder. I haven't read anybody else who's thought this through, but you're still in the problem of you need triangles to make a decision,
Right.
binary decision, a go no go decision, and so we have all these things that limit us to these very simple comparisons. So you have do what you're doing, do this or do that, right? I mean that, and so you end up with this brain that does really obvious things. It's really amazing what it can do with the combination of generalization, right, into some object or episode or prediction, and simply being able to say, I can only judge 3 things or 5 things at a time, right? I mean, I can't hold more than that. And,
Right.
of course, because there's no way to do it. You'd have to have a secondary system of measurement to be able to do it. Your brain's just doing sums. Right? It's
Yes.
like when we look at the AIs, it's just a huge hierarchy of sums.
It's interesting, isn't it?
So I was trying to copy this. I'm just going to pull the whole thing over. What the hell?
Right.
What?
Right.
Great or okay? I thought you
You
said.
said right.
I thought you might have said wait, and I was like, okay, what I do wrong already?
Oh my. Don't interfere with the creative process, Dr. Werrell.
Oh, stop.
It's like watching a finely oiled machine
Oh,
crunching
yeah.
through.
It's an old 1800s steam engine.
Steam powered, of course.
Oil. You have to oil and kick once in a while.
And it squeaks and makes funny noises. Wow,
What
that was harder than it looked.
we just did?
All that work to get to here. Yeah.
This is this is a difficult one. You need to run yet, or are you okay?
No, I'm good.
Have I worn you out yet?
No, not yet. You're working on it though. My last nerve, right?
Wish I could remember what else I was thinking when I wrote this. Oh my God, this is so much easier together. Thank you.
Yes.
I was just suffering with it yesterday. No, this is an explanation. Oh, I have to do faculties. Okay,
But this is the interesting measures. See, measures is values, yeah?
Mm. To get measures, I've got to get faculties.
Yes. I thought it was up there further. We were mentioning it. Um, there.
Yeah, I gotta do faculties. Gotta do this. We need this. Remember I said brain, mind, consciousness,
Yes.
body, brain, mind.
Yeah. Huh. That's funny.
So I need faculties. All right, so then I said given human faculties.
Right.
Doesn't need to be.
Hmm. I don't like those numbers in there.
So we go to cooperation. Oh, one thing I did here is make note of that. How much of our language structure, which is right here, is devoted to cooperation. Possession, ownership, permissibility, whether it represents a gain or loss. Right? I mean, it's all about ownership. We certainly don't think of it that way.
Right.
Okay, so what we did next is method.
Good.
Do we need, I don't think we need to do that here, do we? In other words,
Oh, how to do it? How to define the, how we make the weights and measures?
yeah,
I don't think you need to do that.
I'd rather save that for the method. Logic needs to go above. Logic goes up above. Well, that makes way more sense. Because that's,
Right?
because you need logic for consistency, right?
Right.
Okay. Don't want to do that. I just make sure I'm not. It's all method, right?
Yes.
Pipes is part of the programming, is part of the algorithm. We don't have to do that. This is where you explain it. Remember this, used to belong to this philosophy group in Ottawa. Where the whole point was to say very little. Otherwise, I'd have to dominate the conversation. It was very good. It was a part of the university, so it was a very good group.
Right?
And that was when I did this, the evil. I said, well, what does evil mean? So I did my thing, right? My analytical decomposition of evil, which is where that came from.
Right?
And it's funny that people don't do work. They just think in their mind, what does stuff mean to me?
Yes.
Right? They don't go out and do work and say, well, what is in my mind worth having there? Right?
Okay.
So it was just fascinating experience. This is all method here. We don't want to do any of that, right? I'm just trying to see if there's anything else in this section that we want. Sentences and stories might be, take the operationalism out of it. Well, it's the same thing as that we could continuously recursively disambiguate with, you know. Okay, logic.
So we're intentionally not talking about the method here.
Well, I think that's what we should do.
I'm asking about it. That's why I wanted to bring it up too for consideration, right? Um,
Trying to go through, where did we cover sentences? Story?
yes,
No, I thought I wrote it down in here somewhere.
I think it was up there a little bit further. May have been down below.
Right there.
Yes.
Wayfinding. Yeah, we don't want to get into the method here, do we? No, because we'll lose the frickin' plot.
Yeah, it's not necessary, but it's like it's hanging Chad, right?
I just think it's funny you brought up that goddamn example, but we'll just run with that for a minute. How did you get from, oh, you mean it just be a distraction? Is that what you're saying? What do you, what, I
No,
gotta
it
understand how
it
you got
demands
to make
demands disambiguation somewhere. It
Yes,
seems, and it's like, is it necessary to bring it in at this moment?
no,
No, but it is. It is. I think it is necessary to bring in. It can be in the science. It's suggested. You know what I mean?
I think we put it at the end with yes, like we said yesterday. It's the last thing. Here's what this all results in,
Okay.
right? Here's this other, right? We're gonna do the method and then all that crap and how it ends up in, we've combined, because the method allows us to combine all these things, right? Right now, we're just doing measurements.
Yes.
You know, they can sit there and see us do all these serialization.
Yes.
Do they need to understand that ahead of time?
No. No. So it's not necessary to bring it into the pamphlet.
Well, it is in the method section of the pamphlet, but not in the.
Where are you going to put the method in there?
We agreed, yeah, like last, right? It's this
Right.
stuff, the science, then this stuff, then the language, the science, the excuse me, the behavior, the evolutionary, and then the application as the method. So
Yes.
it's measurement, the sciences, and then application.
Okay.
Does that make sense? That makes sense?
Yes.
Well, you can't forget on me, man, because like that was profound yesterday. I must have warned you. I must have burned you out today. I'm trying to get an edge on you somewhere now.
You're doing all right. You're doing all right. Yes, it's the because it goes after evolutionary computation then.
And we're just trying to get, how do we have the basic properties to be able to talk about the mankind as a system of measurement and what measurements mean, and then what are we trying to measure starting with the universe on up, and then
Yeah.
how do we make arguments, how do we calculate those with those measurements, which is produce arguments and law. I think
Yes.
sounds right to me. It feels right to me. It felt
Yes.
yesterday like it solved a big problem.
Yes. Yes. So
Because
the
I don't
method is before the law.
Like, do we want to go into all this right now? Because we can't do it without getting into ethics.
Right,
We open up all these cans of worms.
right. So it's the end result, the compilation.
Yep.
So in the very end of the document, we would recurse to humans as the measure of everything. And then, so reiterate that faculties and then show the method.
Mm-hmm.
That works.
All right. So, you sound done to me. I feel done. We done for today?
Markov chains, I love that.
Isn't that great? I remember going over this slide with you, and it seemed to have a really good response.
What's interesting, one of the things that I'm working on right now, which I will share with you on the doubling down premise.
Oh, I can't wait. Tell me.
It goes to, so we go to exhaustion of opportunity generating an overload, puts us in a crisis state. The interesting this, in Chinese, 2 characters are used, one for danger and one for opportunity. And I related that to the crossroads and the crossing of we call it the crossing, which is the crossroads of the church, which is where the sacrifice is made.
Okay.
Okay, which is the site of the choice, the sacrifice, and communion. And it's like that's what's occurring when we make a decision.
Okay, go it again, because I went down a rat hole with the the intersection and all
The intersection is interestingly in mythological terms is where you meet the devil. Okay, and it's you pick a road that you're going to exit the crossroads out of, and then you are obligated by that path. So
Yes.
path dependency, right? And so it's like this is it is interesting there, and I made a note here in my book, which is liminal space. There's a liminal space, which is your consciousness is limited, right? And then you're making a choice based on that limited set of information available to you.
Yes.
And so what we're doing is creating a measurement tool by which you can compute the answer better.
Yes.
That's all.
All
Which
right.
is what's interesting is you look at it as crashing waves, right? All these waves are crashing at the same time, which is crisis.
Mhm.
And a choice must be made, and we're providing the tool by which it will be made. And so that's the methodology by which we arrive at our decision-making process, which is the method.
Mhm.
So it is the culmination of all the sciences, which is at the very end of the piece. And then we define the law after that. That's the how we arrive at it is the method.
Mhm.
That was hard work. Today's work was hard because it's the most abstract abstractions, right?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to take something you built to go this direction and change it so it goes that direction. But I mean, yeah, okay, then we'll go through and we'll do our usual thing of I know what we'll do is we'll get this all laid out, and then we'll go to and we'll arrange a few things, and then we'll have to go through and make it all sound the same, right? In the same voice and everything.
Yes.
We'll get it there. Because I mean, this is a substantial part of work. So we're just trying to get it so that we're explaining it from the bottom up, and I feel like we're doing it.
We're
So
getting there.
happy with this work today. I don't know if I'll be able to get any more done today because I'm kind of on the verge of I might be good for reading and copy pasta, but I'm not sure I'm really good at thinking for the rest of the day. We'll try.
Well, I'm gonna watch the interview between Sam Harris and
Peter
Peter.
Zion and
There you go. I was trying to come up with that. I had it a second ago.
I was like, do we really need to say it? Okay, I'll say it.
I appreciate you saying it because
So-
it's my mind.
It really is fascinating because it's so illustrative of the problem, which is there are people who live in words. And
Well, it's he's can't process the information in a manner that is satisfactory
Mhm,
because the tools at his disposal are insufficient for the task.
yes. I was kind of wondering, there's something to do with everybody has to be the same so that everybody can get along. And then us adults saying, well, we don't all have to get along that much.
Right? It's
Yeah.
overstated.
Right? Sorry?
The getting along part is overstated.
It's
It's not
overstated, yeah.
necessary.
We only need to get along as much as we need to get along. We don't need to get along for the purpose of getting along, right? And
Right.
you see
That's
that
right.
in the female cognition.
Herd mentality, yes.
Yes. All right, brother, we done today? You gonna do your thing?
Oh, here's my chance to shine again. You in the audience, it's your opportunity to participate by hitting like and subscribe and then the notification bell so you know what's happening. But as always, we want your comments. We'd like to hear what you have to say because your input is valuable to us. Isn't it, Kurt?
It is. We love it. I'll post, matter of fact, that's what I'll do as soon as we get up. And of course, this will render for a bit. Then I'll post yesterday and today and see if we get any.
We'll
Hey.
see what we get. It's like casting nets.
It's something.
I
All right, love you, man. Thanks for this weekend. You were awesome. I'm tired.
enjoyed it. See you later, Kurt.